Yes, back again. That's right. Places, everyone. Smiles, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Break with JN. Well, hello. Well, hello. Guys, you know the routine. You know the code. You know the universal greeting. It's not Bana, we Mini Bong. It's well, hello. And welcome back to Coffee Break with JN. You guys, um, it's another every other week. Where's the time going? Where's the time going, you guys? I feel like we just said, "Is it Thursday yet?" Guys, maybe we'll do a really early ones and twos. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, y'all. We haven't done a ones and twos in a while. I'm going right in, pause. I'm going right in. Uh, looks like we have a small audience today, but we'll just keep it intimate. Do our ones and twos. The first ones and twos of the night. One, if put a one in the chat if you feel like time is going by at an increasingly fast rate. Put a two in the chat if you're like, no, Jay, and it's all in your mind. It's fine. Or three if you're packing your apocalypse bag. Um, then we'll see what you guys come up with. Let's see who's in the building. It's like, yo, we'll start here. No, no, notorious. JRD in the building. Well, hello. Warp one straight ahead. Engage. Christopher Lopez. Hello, Christopher. One, yes. What up, Matt? What up, Suze? Yo, the Waringo Dynasty has checked in for a group. Good to see you. Put your name on the register. Good to see you. Chris Lopez says it for me. It's like Groundhog Day. Yo, I'm not going to say I didn't think about that the other day. Like, really, how much of our lives are like Groundhog Day? With some slight variance. Thinking about when you were in school and how like every day you had to get up to do whatever your constitutional was and run out to the bus with the slice of toast in your mouth and you just did it again and again and again and again. I call Shogun. Shogun says I spaced out while you were saying what wanted to. Yeah, you're the grinder. Yo, I love it. Hello Shogun. Hello JRD. Hello Chris. Hello Matt and Suze. Yo, I see Bill O'Donnell. What up, Bill? Yes, yes, y'all. Um, yeah, I've already said a couple of times on coffee break. I feel like, I mean, the lockdown was a whole thing to itself, right? Where time was just, some people felt like time was going like at a glacial pace, and just people couldn't wait to get back outside, y'all. And I think one of my favorite things that sprung up from the lockdown was, yo, we outside. Yo, we outside. I enjoy that. Like, yo, we outside. But I think in a couple of ways, that whole experience was something different for cartoonists in that ilk because a lot of us kind of ply our trade at home anyway. So you were just, I think, too, I don't know, I don't want to speak so freely about things, but I feel like the lockdown for a lot of cartoonists was not like, oh, well, this is just a Tuesday. I wouldn't ever be so glib about it. But I think it was more like, oh, well, great. Now I don't have to go anywhere. Because on the 15th we have to do this, and then we have to go to your grandmother's, and then we have to go upstate. When is it? What time? Ugh. And then there was kind of like a break from having to do any of that stuff. So I know some people who kind of like, more of this, but also at the same time, people were pressed in all types of ways. I don't even need to get into the drama of what those years were like. But I said at that point, I think if anything, maybe people who have lived their lives working from home or creating from a home studio or whatever. And now having people who probably live with you who say things like, "What do you do all day?" Like, I came home from work and you're in the same spot. Like, did you eat lunch?" A couple of you guys, have you heard this one? Did you shower? When was the last time you've been in the shower? I'm sure you some of you guys have heard that before. And some people kind of came out of this with having a little um the JRD, I just read your thing and it distracted me. Maybe with a little bit more of an understanding of how quickly the day goes by. As I know for a lot of people, the dream, you know, the dream is to, be in your thing, be all about your one purpose and do your thing. Um, but I think in a grass is greener scenario, that there's something to be said for having to leave and come home, to leave and have to deal with the ills of the world, and then come home and have that space to yourself. Um, but anyway, I was saying I think a couple of people got a little bit more respect or maybe consideration from their family because they go, "Oh man, I don't I you know what? I thought you just sat around all day, but the day goes by like that." It's it's like it was 8 in the morning, now it's 3:15. I Where'd the day go? Yes. So, having really good time management is key. It's essential to doing what a lot of us do. So, but anyway, on top of that, I've said a million times, I feel like the only way I know that time is passing really fast is that it's time to take the trash out again for put it on a curb. And I feel like I just did that. And I just did it again a couple of days ago. And it's almost time to do it again. Suze, what up, Sue? Sue says the dream is to be retired. 9 more years at least. Let's go. Let's see who else snuck in while I was running my mouth. Yo, Billy Bob, what up, Billy Bob? Billy Bob says it was interesting seeing people who don't have indoor hobbies freaking out. And I was like, more time to draw. Right. And again, I want to balance all this. I don't want to make it sound like we were like having happy fun time. But I think your mentals as the patron saint of coffee break beast mode said, "Yo, you got to take care of your mentals. Take care of your mentals. Take care of your chicken." But if your mentals were together, then you were like kind of okay. Everybody else was kind of freaking out. But yeah, so maybe my first call. Okay, hey Billy Bob, good to see you. Matt says we had so many things we're going to do around the house or work so many hours we never did any of it. Yeah, that's super true. So maybe I'll ask because I'm kind of in this mode tonight. Were there anything that, and I'm trying to keep it positive, y'all. Is there anything that you kind of started doing in the lockdown that you have kept up or you continue to do? Hope it's a positive thing. I know a lot of people like, if you had a bunch of people all at home at the same time and you started making the mud room somebody's office and the kids have a under the stairs. You kicked out Harry Potter and now there's a little place for them to do their homework. Are any of you guys still using these spaces? Have you utilized those things and are they part of your world now? Are people still like, do you still have a clean room in your house where you're scrubbing down the groceries when you come home? Um, because I think even in that weird little moment, there were some things that like probably weren't that bad. Like even just like I don't know, trying to ration food, or if you're going to be a slug, or you're going to like go, you know what, I got to get up and I need to do some crunches every day. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Bill, what up, Bill? Bill says, Dree and I couldn't see each other for 17 months because of COVID. As soon as the borders opened, I went to Brazil ASAP. Rocky. I love it. Um, JRD says, seriously, Matt. Oh, you're talking to Matt. We hope to finally get the storage situation taken care of. Yeah, time went by and stuff didn't get done. Are you being facetious, JRD? Do you remember that part, that kind of like early part of the lockdown where there was these YouTube things going along around, and there was a doctor who said, "Hey, you guys, I got it. When you take off your hazmat suit when you come back from the Acme, take all your groceries and have a space in your house that's all wiped down, and you take out your bag of Fritos and you clean those. You clean the bag, pause. Clean your bag, JRD. And you kind of like, and then you keep everything here, and then you take the dirty stuff, you put it there." Billy Bob says, "Still disinfecting stuff. I think it's just good practice." See, Billy Bob gets it. That's why you're caffeine in good standing, Billy Bob. Also, I started digital art after years of traditional. It was fun figuring that out for the first time. Yeah. Chris says, "My job was considered essential, so I was working. I know how that feels." Sue still keeps the hand sanitizer in all cars. Yeah, I keep the sanitizer on deck. Matt says, "We stopped the grocery scrub down about a year ago, and I do not miss it." And Jared, you need to make a T-shirt that says, "My bag is always clean." That's fantastic. Um, that's Yo, Billy Buck got the pause emoji out. I love it. Also, Bill says, because of COVID, the family learned to do a lot more home cooking and meal prep. Yes, Bill's always talking about meal prep. See, you guys feel the vibe. Meal prep makes life so much easier. You're very true. Sue says, "I still keep masks in the car, Sue. Sometimes I can't face the K Roger without a mask." K Roger. And I don't want to get into masking. I remember, and this goes way back. Um, if you have ever traveled or watched enough TV, you've seen in some Asian places. This is before we're not talking. This is like before all the lockdown stuff. I'll say Japan. Like you see in Japan, people walking down the street, and a lot of people wearing masks, and it's not a big deal. I've been fortunate enough to go there a couple of times, and just you know, you're in the arcade, and there's some kids that all wear masks and are playing Street Fighters, just whatever, and you find out that part of the culture is that people wear masks because they're probably sick or getting sick, and they don't want to spread their germs. What a what a wonderful place. And I remember, um, yeah, was not a thing here, and just to see somebody wear a mask in America was just like, "What's wrong with you? What's going on?" And I remember one person I knew from the internet uh, was working in New York, and he was walking down the street, and a bus of tourists got off a bus, and I guess they were all Japanese, and a bunch of them were wearing masks, and he got really offended. He was like, so what? Like, you don't like our air or something?" I was like, "No, no, that's just not how it works. It's the other way around." And it's funny to just kind of fast forward a couple of years until, you know, so I just think that's really interesting. JRD says, "I keep masks for high density areas and cons. I'm technically still a high risk, no matter how many alts." All right, we get it with the bets. Billy Bob, you co-sign on that? Um, so yeah, and also just being at cons, and it's just like, again, this isn't that show. I've been saying forever because I started traveling probably like when they started loosening some of the restrictions. Like I had to get on airplanes, and I'm like, I can't. I just gotta go. And it was a little surprising how many people were just like, "Bing." But I've always had this feeling like you do what works for you, and if you're not sneezing on me, or if you're having a coffee fit, why don't you just leave? And it's always been gross, even before a global pandemic. That you just out in public and people are just like, like really? People need more home training. Yeah, right, Matt. And also, yeah, that was true. I do recall like not just not just being seasonally sick for a couple of years. Like I am, especially during pollen season because that's coming. Pause. Speaking of pollen, Jared D says, "I will mask up when the horny trees turn my red car yellow. They are handy." uh, yeah, man. So, anybody else want to share anything that they have kept after the lockdown? I know another thing is that something happened to me where I kind of just don't want to leave the house anymore, and it's not like a paranoid like looking out the window thing. It's just like, hey, you want to go? Not really. I would just rather not. But yeah, the allergies are crazy. I know some people kind of like get allergies later in life, um, and I've realized that I was getting affected by the pollen, and I couldn't figure out that it was like hay fever or like a seasonal allergy. But when you finally realize, like, I'm not sick, it's allergies, and that's a whole different type of vibe. So, what a weird show so far. Let's flip the script, you guys. Hello, it's great to see you all. Um, I'm very excited to say that we had a really great pencil to pencil last night with well, hold on a second. Oh, Sue says you're not going to the movies anymore. Anybody else not going to the movies anymore? You know what? Here's the thing, because the whole movie experience, that's a whole other can of worms. Because I remember when kind of like on the verge of just everything being streaming, and you would say things to yourself like, "Man, why don't they just have movies played at the theater and streaming, and I could decide which one I was going to do." Then they started doing that, and I started feeling like, you know what, there's some movies I just need to see in the theater because it changes the whole scale. Or, like, do you really want to? I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, but I kind of didn't really want to see it anyway. But I don't know if watching Oppenheimer on your like on your laptop gives the same scale as going to see it on a big screen. um, Bill says, "Oh, at cons we do fist bumps rather than handshakes." Yeah, I'm down with that. Jardu says, "I'm still very guarded about my personal time and pick whom I spend that time carefully. That said, JN or Ringo time is always lovely." Salute. Yeah, man. It's just a different world we're living in. Christopher says, "I go to the movies for the things that require big screen experience, Dune and IMAX, and also for your Dune popcorn container." Oh, JRD set up Plex. That's what's up. Our boy Cheeks has a Plex. Shout out to Sean Galloway. JRD says, "Yeah, I set up a Plex during the pandemic, and with the home video release window now down to 2 or 3 months, I just wait for home. You're waiting for the movie trade. Wait for the trade. I'd rather spend $20 and watch it at home than $80." Well, yeah, and that whole movie experience thing is that's its own thing. I will say I went to the movies there's kind of like a single theater, like old-timey, old school, Save the Clock Tower movie theater, in the town over for me that I try to go to as much as I can because I just want to support them because they almost went under during COVID, and they had a lot of really great benefactors and beneficiaries and patrons that kind of kept the lights on. And I don't want that theater to go down. Um, but I saw American Fiction, the Jeffrey Wright movie. Um, I just saw Ghostbusters, but I didn't see that there. I don't. Do you guys have these? Do you guys have movie taverns in your town? You know what I'm talking about? They're kind of like some movies, but then like you press a button and somebody brings you like a leg of lamb and a martini out to your recliner. I would love to see what you guys feel, how you feel about literally dinner and a movie. Um, then that also got affected during a lockdown. I know if once things started opening back up, like a lot of the things you can't go in and press a button and order something. You have to do everything on your phone on the app, and then you can pick it up. Or maybe you got to check in, and then when you sit down, somebody will bring it out to you, and they don't come back. Yo, Francis, what's up? What's is this place Vidiots? What you mean? Um, Bill says we used to do movies a lot. Now it's more gotta go to Costco, get the AFC two-ticket package, $20 snack bar coupon. You miss your Dollar General, dollar store candy stashed in the lining of your coat. Um, Also, JRD mentions, plus there's only one theater near us that has seats that don't aggravate my back. So one more vote for home. Doesn't ever Are there any theaters that don't have those ushered reclining fall asleep seats in them? And has anybody ever fallen asleep in the movies in those chairs? Matt says we got the Alamo Draft House of Charlottesville about an hour away. Okay, so is that a place? It sounds like you could go and like have a steak dinner, then go to the movie. Bill says some movie theaters spent cash on upping the theaters to IMAX or AMC Dolby Atmos. Others didn't, and man, it shows. Word up. I call Shogun says we have a theater that may or may not be like a single story tall and an honest to goodness drive-in. I love the drive-in. I haven't done a drive-in in years. Oh, Vidiots is a place. It's the one place I went to when I was in LA. Okay, Francis, I didn't know what you were talking about. Matt also says we used to have a place called Cinema Draft House, and people could smoke in there. Watching a movie through a haze of carcinogens was boss, man. Yeah. Chris says I'm not a fan. The eating of the food is distracting while watching the movies. For that, I'll just stay home. Doesn't it stink in there? I don't know. I'm acting like I don't go, but I will say in the what do they call them, the movie tavern, and that's kind of like a I forget. It's like an independently run owned theater chain, and there's just like, oh, it's Marcus Theaters. And at the beginning of the beginning of the movie, this little guy appears on the screen. Was like, "Hi, I'm Marcus. Welcome to my theater." And then there's like a really bad skit that some disgruntled teens that work for him have to do. Um, but I don't think I've ever ordered like a meal in there. Like I still just get popcorn and a water. I don't even, I try not to mess with soda like I used to. uh, Pat says, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm tired." Alamo Draft House is a theater with full mini service at your seat. What do you get? Has anybody ever like ordered like some really shishi stuff at the movie theater restaurant? Like, are you going to eat like a rock lobster while you're watching Ghostbusters? JRD says, I would only do the draft house thing if I had already seen the film because the whole Restaurant part is far too distracting, and the lights are not fully dimmed. Hmm. Oh, right. Kevin Smith, shout out to Kevin, says he opened Smodcastle Theaters in New Jersey. It's a mix of Kevin Smith movies and old school. Oh, there more than one? I thought it was just one in Red Bank. Is he's got a bunch of other ones? Huh. That's funny. I've never been to Red Bank. I always thought I'd go to Jay and Solid Bob's Secret Stash. For some of you guys that know my origin story, I used to do a web comic for Kevin Smith. Met him a couple of times. A good dude. Um, but yeah, I always thought I'd go out there. I haven't got there. And also was from my time at moviepoopshoot.com. I got pretty chummy with a bunch of like the View Askew guys. So shout out to Ming. And it was really weird seeing those guys kind of turn into like celebrities from Comic Book Men. Remember that show that Kevin had, the reality show, the comic book store? And I was like, yo, this Ming. Ming and I were real tight. Ming used to be Kevin's kind of like booth manager, like in the maybe in the late '90s, early thousands. Uh, Kevin Smith and the whole View Askew thing was like the nerd number one. He was the pop culture lightning rod, before the Chris Hardwicks of the world, and it just kind of overflowed, and now geek culture is pop culture. But like Kevin Smith was a big deal. Now people are like, who? But like my first sip of coffee for the night has to be for Kevin Smith because he kind of kept the lights on in this world. And I think if there wasn't Kevin Smith, I don't think we'd have these MCU movies. I think that sounds like a stretch, but humor me. Sip of coffee for Kevin Smith. That's right. Yeah, tell Ming I said what's up. um, Matt says we went to South by Southwest in Austin. Austin is amazing, and I ate meals at Alamo Draft House like twice a day for a weekend. I wanted to die. That was my Rosanna Dana. You ever get all right? I'm not gonna do it. Sorry for the dog. Um, is Smodcastle closing? I didn't hear about that. Um, I was gonna, guys. I'm all over the place, and the energy is low. But I was going to, mention Pencil to Pencil from last night, where we had Mike Cavallaro on, who was a fantastic guest. I'm sorry. And you know what? And what I loved about what Mike did is Mike he understood the assignment, and after and before his appearance on I'm sorry, Matt. If I mute it, then I can't talk. Hold on a second. Sorry, you guys. It's a place like stranger danger, stranger danger. Sorry about that, you guys. Um, yeah. So this is is real as live. So this is kind of what I was getting at is Mike was such a fantastic guest because, and I do the same thing with all of our guests, because you know that I am the producer of the JNN Jamar Nicholas Network array of programming, be it Coffee Break with JN. This this magnificent feast represents the last of the petty cash. pencil to pencil, not pencil I pencil, pencil to pencil. Maybe it's even it ain't hard to tell. My fortnightly Patreon exclusive podcast with superstar Mike Hawthorne. So many things going on. But on pencil to pencil, I asked the guests when we have guests. I said, "Listen, here are all the links. Here's the link to the YouTube. Here's a link to the Facebook pencil to pencil thing. Please tell your constituents." I could say very matter of factly that a lot of people do not share it. I don't know why. I think, and this is just coming from being in a place where people ask you to do stuff and you just feel like you have to get through it or get through with it. And I'm not saying that's how the guests feel. I don't know why people do or don't do things, but I will say, when a guest says, "Hey, you guys, I'm going to be on this show. You should check it out." It changes the algorithm considerably. When people go, "Hey, I had a great time on Pencil to Pencil with three expert cartoonists. Look at Pinch Me, I Must Be Dreaming. You should go check this out." The algorithm changes, and it just takes that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just from Mike doing that, I got a bunch of emails today like, "Hey, I didn't know you did a podcast. Hey, I would love to be on your podcast. This looks great." You know what I'm saying? So, like, in proof positive, Billy Bob says, "Glad I found the channel through Brian Lee O'Malley's story." Right? So, all and that's really the power there. And as I say, kind of like with Billy Bob and some of the other caffeines who come into the network from guest appearances, they come in on the slipstream of one of our guests coming in. And I've also said a million times, why, if anybody ever realizes why I do all that setup at the beginning of Pencil to Pencil when I'm like, "Hey, this is a show run by three expert cartoonists and blah blah blah," is because, especially when you have people who are just following their favorite creative into some interview, 9 times out of 10 you don't really care about who's interviewing, just that they don't ask stupid questions, and you don't really put a lot of thought into who these other people are. And I've always pushed back against being a talking head, or like just some neckbeard who just happened to get somebody on this show. Like, no, we're all creatives who are vets in the business, and I think that changes the richness of our conversations. And maybe you guys can tell me otherwise, but I think that's what makes Pencil to Pencil special. You know what I mean? If it's not me, I mean, Mike Manley, I mean, geez, just, what he brings to the show, right? Steve Conley, come on. You know what I'm saying? Now I need that cake. Cake. I'll give that to you. Yo, Repunk Taco, what up, Adam? Good to see you, my man. So Francis says, "How would one get the glory of going on pencil to pencil?" Really, it's kind of like, it's a thing. It's kind of, I don't know. I guess I don't want to say there's like a board or something, but it's like vetted. It's like, is there interest? Do we think that this person would be an interesting guest for the people who watch the show? Um, what's their story? I mean, how long? Not necessarily how long have they been around, because there's no metric for that. But it's just kind of like, what is the mile marker that this person has in the industry, and what kind of value could that bring to the show? So that's really all it is. And now it's interesting that I'm starting to get people who are like, their publicists are getting in touch with me of like, "Yo, we want to be on the show." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute." You know what I mean? We weren't set up for that. I'll definitely entertain it, but it's almost like, we didn't set this up to just have like random people asked to be on the show. And there's no knock to that. Sometimes I've found some really interesting people that I didn't know about. And I think that's also a cool way of how the show comes together. A lot of times, we'll have conversations about, hey, who would be good guests for the show? Sometimes I'll ask you guys, hey, who would you like to see on the show? And then the conversations go from there. Sometimes we already have a relationship with them, and you'll see that through how usually the beginning of the show works. It's like who's kind of talking them up the most, or who's like excited about bringing them on the most. You can kind of sniff out who may have more of a relationship with them, or we're all just learning. And I'll always say things like that. I don't know a lot about this person, but I'm really excited to find out. Let's bring them in. That's a good question. Francis is not going to lie. See, I speak the language. You are the reason I'm watching these. Thank you, Francis. I appreciate that. You just made my night. Appreciate that. Bill says the Dan Panosian interviews will brought my attention to the JNN. And Dan's a sweetheart. I would love to have Dan back on soon. Right? Who doesn't love? By God, it's Stone Cold Steve Conley. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you guys enjoyed my silliness. Bill says boot camps and tales from the Mike of Manly are always a gem. We haven't done boot camps in a while. And for you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, the boot camps were something, especially when it was just for like the history of pencil to pencil. And I'll keep this short because I feel like we just talked about this. And it came up last night is that uh, Mike Manley uh, is and was the editor in chief of Draw magazine from Tomorrow's Publishing. Go read Modern Masters. Go read Kirby Collector. You can still get copies of Draw magazine in PDF form on tomorrows.com. Was this magazine? A bunch of people wrote columns in it or did interviews. I came in probably like year 2 or 3, and I started doing interviews. Who did I interview? I interviewed Brian Lee O'Malley. I interviewed Steve Purcell from Sam and Max. I'd love to get Steve Purcell on the show. I interviewed Jim Rugg. I interviewed Scott Kurtz. I interviewed a lot of people. I interviewed LaShawn Thomas, and that was almost like a 35-page interview. And I think he was just about to, I think he had just finished working on the Boondocks and then maybe Black Dynamite. And then I think he was going to go to Japan and do Cannon Busters. We're just in the thing. And I was also the crusty critic reviewing creative tools so you don't have to. And kind of after we saw how print was doing and just how the numbers were going, we were like, yo, we should just do a podcast. So there's like maybe a year or so of pencil to pencil where it's all audio. And if you go to our website, which is woefully not being updated, you'll probably see a lot of the OG audio podcasts. And then once the technology started kind of to ramp up, like on Facebook Live, that's where Coffee Break started. When they instituted Facebook Live, and I was just like, what's this button do? Oh, let me get a cup of coffee. I'm just going to rub my mouth. That's the beginning of Coffee Break. And then we started doing pencil to pencil a little later, and then we did it on YouTube. So that's kind of how we were here, and that's why we have all these magnificent guests. That's why the first triad was myself, Mike Manley, and Brett Blevins. And then Brett left, and then Mike and I, and also going back to the pandemic, a lot of pencil to pencil, we were just like, we were home. And we were just kind of knocking things out of the park. We went live Wednesdays and Saturdays during the lockdown. Some of you guys remember they were like 3-hour shows. And what else are you going to do? But then after a while, I was just like, you know what? These need some more structure. I'm getting hoarse. I think we need to kind of like, and that's really when producer JN was born. And I was just like, we just need to keep this kind of moving. So here we are. This is not our final form, but I'm really enjoying it. And I love that all of you guys have come along for the ride. Thank you so much. And thanks again, Francis. That meant a lot. Hey, Josh. Josh says, I'm very excited to see more guests on Pencil to Pencil. Well, that's awesome. but I'm pretty sure I got introduced to the show from a guest. Do you remember? But also going back to the specialness of the guest, I mean of the hosts, we don't need a guest. You know what I'm saying? Like we've got plenty of shows where it's just us talking about a topic, and I think they're just as entertaining as talking to like Bill Ray or like Bob Camp or something like that. Matt says, I love the guests on Pencil to Pencil, but my favorite episode when the three hosts just do a roundtable discussion among themselves. I mean, yeah, like I didn't make that up. Steve Conley has been a pioneer in web comics. Like he was doing motion comics like in the late 90s. He's not just some Johnny come lately, y'all. Like the pedigree is there. You see the stripes on his arm. So, I think people would be really missing the boat if they were like, oh, well, when are they going to get a guest? Like, we are guests on our own show. So there. JRD says, Pencil to Pencil works so well because you all bring great knowledge, but vastly different experiences to the table. You bring years of self publishing struggle, Steve, years of webcomics, and Mike, the curmudgeonly vet. Yes, there it is. Shogun says, every time who the viewers want on comes up, I realize I know like exactly nobody in the comics realm. And that's why you need us. We put stuff in front of you guys, and people like we're trying to not feed anybody junk food. We're giving you nutrition, and all the guests have always been amazing. JRD says, yeah, I would love to be on Pencil to Pencil, but I know I need another 5 years of experience in the biz before I bring it out to the table. My personal story was already covered by JN. Yes, if you are a patron of mine on Patreon, I have another video series called Thank You for Having Me with Jamar Nicholas, where I do a solo one-on-one interview with special creative types. And I interviewed JRD. It was good. And JRD, that wasn't like your first interview, but it was also pretty intense. So I hope that was good for you. Spectacular Umbreon back in the building. Well, hello. Thanks for joining us. Sue says, Sue's, we gotta get a Sue's pose in. Sue says, Pencil to Pencil is fascinating to me. I rarely know the artist, so it's just a fun interview session with my friends. Although, didn't the Sue's pose come from Ron Garney's Pencil to Pencil episode? I think I remember Matt was about to jump through the screen on Ron, but it's possible. Bill says, I'd suggest Adriana for Pencil to Pencil, but I'd have to boot myself out of the house to keep myself from talking from the other room. Paul Pate, what up, Paul Pate? It's good to see you, Paul Pate. Paul Pate, have you been here the whole time? Yeah, Sue says, I used to catch your Facebook Lives when you would cut it on and just draw. Yeah, those JRD kind of knows all the tapes, but that was probably like early 2019, 2018. Whenever Facebook Live started is when I just was like, and I would just like draw and we would just talk. There was no structure. And then Coffee Break kind of happened, and I didn't have a schedule for it. I just kind of did them. And then people were like, oh, this is cool. But thanks for that, Suze. So this might be that's right. Steve Conley is a plethora of knowledge and skill. Yes, that is true. Hold on, okay. JRD says, it was the first interview where I talked about some of the more deep things about my past. Yeah, you should go check that out. Yo, JRD says, you would draw live one in 2018. Coffee Break debuted in February 2019. the holder of the gold. That's crazy. Yo, K Dubs in the building. Stunt Ken, ayo. Now here we go. Sip of coffee, you guys. Time to get your pinkies up for my man, Stunt Ken. Good to see you, my man. Where you been, Stunt Ken? Good to see my man Kenny. So Matt says, are we doing Who Do You Want on Pencil to Pencil? Chris Samney, Brian Stelfreeze, and now that you're buzzed with Jim Davis, why not? You know what? Doesn't hurt to ask. And I don't think there's a lot of Jim Davis interviews. Now there are a lot of people we've asked, and there's a lot of people who just don't respond. And I think sometimes that shocks people. And I kind of have this thing in the back of my head where I'm like, yo, I would love to like diverse it up or, kind of mix up the kind of, whatever. I have some feelers out for some more graphic novelists or people in the traditional book space, which, the Dan Santat interview was great. Even Mike Cavallaro last night has been in both of those worlds. And I think they bring a really interesting and modern take on what's going on in cartooning. There are a lot of, if I told you who they were, you'd be like, word. And I've, said a million times, please don't be surprised. Like, this is kind of what we do. Don't be like, how'd you get that guy? Like having Eric Larson on was like a big moment for me because I've been a Larson fan for all these years. But there's also some people, not to say that I don't want to talk to them, but there's some people that I just, you know, like I don't think we just have people on just to do it. You know what I mean? So there's always some sort of connection there, or at least an admiration of their stuff. But also, because you don't see people on doesn't mean I hate them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you get who you get, and you don't get upset. But also, like I said, there are a lot of offers that we put out, and they just don't come back. You get ghosted a lot. You get left on read or read a lot, and some people just like what or talk to my publicist or who are you again? I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna sing and dance. Either you want to or you don't want to. But it's not as easy as it sounds. And there are a lot of people that aren't jumping to go talk, especially live, you guys. And I've said this before. There are a lot of people I think that are intimidated of going live. One is that I think they just don't, I think there's a lot of people that just can't do this stuff. I've been saying that for years. And that's not a humble brag, it's just true. You know what I'm saying? And then there are other people that just who've said, I wish you would tape this, but I'm not comfortable going live. I think other people think that you're trying to trick them or like, you're going to like get them on live and then like make them read some manifesto or something like I don't know what people think. But in all of these asks, I always say, here's the channel, go look at the episodes. And if you know, think you want to be on it, get back to me. If not, peace be with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Paul Pate, that was a good interview. That was a while ago too, right? We should do that again. Tell them, Billy Bob, they are missing out. All those names. All right, hold on. We can't. We're getting late. Oh yeah, Bill says the Danielle Corsetto one was super informative and a great interview. Danielle's fantastic. Her Patreon is popping. Girls with Slingshots was her strip. I think she's doing new stuff now. Um, and I would love to get her back on, or I would also love to kind of talk to some of like the next, like the new generation of cartoonists who were just like, they're on some other shit. Like one of my favorite interviews was with Christine Larson, and Christine said something really cool. She said you have to consider now that there are generations of cartoonists who did not grow up reading Marvel comics. They're not Marvel zombies. They did not grow up reading Reverse Flash comics. They grew up reading manga, or they grew up reading there's people that grew up reading Raina Telgemeier books who were wanting to be cartoonists. They're going to have a totally different style and backstory to the work they make. That's really exciting to me. So, but yeah, thanks, Bill. Francis says, and I got to do a Sue's pose. And I have one more thing to say to you guys. We'll go home. How was your first experience using non-photo print blue? Mine's been a roller coaster. Here's the thing. So if we're talking about an old school classic non-photo blue polar race pencil where it's like so blue you can't even see it, Here's a pro tip: you don't have to use those, especially if you can't see it and it's messing you up. And when you're inking over it, it's really waxy, and it's just like, don't use them because in modern times, if you want to draw the blue pencil, that's cool. And when you scan everything in, you can just select the the color line and delete it. So the whole idea of shooting something on photostat so the blue disappears is not even a thing anymore. So yeah, don't use them. And I don't even think that's something you need to train yourself to like. I stopped using non-photo blue pencils a long time ago. I do like the old school blue. I forget which number there are. There's like two or three different numbered Cola Rays, but now they don't make Cola Rays anymore. So that's kind of my blessing to you, just to use whatever you think works for you. Stunkin says, "Man, forget the reps, publicists, etc. We come chill with you on Pencil any day. No ghosting." Yo, thank you, Kenny. I love that. JRD says, "I wouldn't mind seeing teams like Parker and Drew Moss, Paul Tobin and Colin Cooper, maybe Wheezy and June Brickman. That'd be nice. I think Wheezy and June would be cool. Um, and I have ideas about doing roundtables and doing some different kind of formats. We've already seen that we can put like 4 or 5 people on the screen and it starts getting Brady Bunchy. But I have some ideas for the future. That is true. Indie comics is diverse and rich. Hey, Bill West, good to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, all right, time for a Ringo check-in. Sue's report to the dance floor. Are you here? Check in, check in. We haven't done one of these in a while, you guys. I'm so excited. And you know what? I was a little punchy when we started, but I'm hyped off of this suspect coffee I'm drinking. No, somebody said jet pens. It's like saying Beetlejuice. Everybody's gonna open their browser and go to jet pens. Um, all right, Suze. I knew you were here. Matt, is Sue still here? I won't do it if she doesn't appear. Okay, all right. She's here. She's here. All right, you better tell her I'm about to drop it. All right, well, we chipping or we're dipping? We're dipping. I put my hand upon your chip. Oh, are we hipping? All right, chip. Then I dip, you dip, we dip. The dog messed me up, man. Come on now. Serious pose. You got it. Good job. Yo, we need to get Jet Pens this to sponsor Pencil to Pencil or Coffee Break. That's right. Yeah, I was down with Jet Pens a long time ago, man. I love it. Right, that's what I said. No, oh, you're responding to the chat. No, I meant blue pencils. I've been using for a while, but last week was the first time I scanned with them, and I got mad because I didn't realize you have to put. Yeah, man, you'll get there. But yeah, it's also, here's another thing. It's something that I didn't learn till later. If you kind of do your blues and then start going over it with graphite, then try to erase some of that down. You don't have to rock with these like really stark, strong pencils. Try to like knock that stuff down with a kneaded eraser, and then some. Maybe the scanning process won't be so hard for you. JetPen sponsorship would be a Hey, you know what, Josh? When we first started doing pencil to pencil, the video part, we had a sponsorship with Clip Studio Paint. What my man runs Clip Studio Paint or Graphicsly. And I would start the show with Pencil sponsored by Clip Studio Paint. Yes, that Clip Studio Paint. Back in this is going back a long time ago. My very first podcast. Shout out to any of the Boothies Comic Book Diner, which was myself, my man John Gallagher, and Rich Faber. We had a Canson paper sponsorship. So it is a cool flex. But if y'all don't if y'all don't do anything with it, it's just a name on the screen. Um, but yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, maybe I'll reach out. So, all right, guys, we're running out of time. I wanted to show you this. So, if you, I keep saying it, if you are in my Patreon, you know that we have a really cool group chat that we just keep running on our phones. And that's just an option in Patreon that you can do that. It's a different way of communicating. And it's just there. People jump in, jump out. But I shared something. I went to the supermarket yesterday because I was running low on coffee. And I was in the coffee aisle and I was just like, because you guys know JN likes old man coffee. So I'm in the Folgers. I'm like, all right, ugh. And I just put the stuff in my car to keep it moving. And I'm not proud. I have a Keurig and I drink K cups. Even though I'm a coffee snob, I just need coffee in the cup and it's hot. I'm not doing a French press. I'm not doing the auto drip joint. Just coffee in the cup. So I get home and you know how like we're not doing the clean room scrub down of our stuff, but I'm taking the stuff out the bags. And I have a little carousel in the kitchen that I put the K cups in. And I opened the box and I bought the wrong thing. Now I want you to look closely at this. These are not K cups. It is not just beans. It's coffee and tea bags. Are you kidding? I was like, wait a minute, what? What? So, but okay, so this is what I was saying. I wasn't expecting to see coffee bags in the K cup thing. I didn't even know they made coffee bags. Thank you, Billy Bob. I was wait, what? I ripped the box open. You see that bad rip, and because I needed coffee, I was like, wait a minute, what did I just buy? Right? As long as human civilization has been around, I have never seen this sorcery before. And I mean, even instant coffee, which is gross. And I've told you a story about how I was at one of my college. I used to work at colleges, and I'm at this kind of flea market that the college ran. And these in the work study kids made the grossest coffee out of the instant Sanka, and they didn't know how to make coffee. Oh, I would rather I would expect to see that than tea bags. Yeah. Well, JRD seems to know I've never seen these things before. What sorcery is this? So Josh asked the $1,000 question. Did you try it? Yeah. And here's it's messy. Here's the bag. Guys, I gotta say it's not bad. It feels really weird to dunk, you know what I mean? the tea bag, your coffee water. And like now, I mean, I can't take it back now, and I'm just gonna use them as a lark. Right? It's but it also comes with a Frogurt. That's good. But the Frogurt is also cursed. Did not think I was going to be doing that, but yeah, it wasn't bad. That's what I thought. I took this picture and I shared it with the group chat, but then I was like, I gotta bring this on Coffee Break. How funny is that? I would not recommend Dunkaroos. This is not the best part of waking up. Yeah, right. It's just, I did it and it's there, and I thought it was funny, but I will say I went back to the market later and I got like real coffee. But here's the funny thing about the coffee pot. I don't drink that much coffee, which I think would mess me up. And it's already weird that I drink coffee at 9 p.m. EST. But I don't need a whole pot of coffee. I'm a three cupper, and then that's it. And then this is my third cup of coffee for the evening, and I'm out. I mean, for the day, not just the evening. I don't need another cup. So, and this is me weaning myself down over years of coffee abuse. Milk bags, pause. So JRD's always comes with the science. They're the leftovers from grinding beans for pre-ground bags that would normally be thrown away. So this is the scrapple of coffee. Someone at Folgers thought of this and they ran with it. That's wildness. Um, but yeah, this is like it's better than instant. I guess is all I can say. Yeah, right. So it's like, we're getting old. You got to know your limitations, y'all. And speaking of that, and I didn't put this on the screen at all tonight. I apologize, Reggie Byers. You know our sponsor. Speaking of sponsors, uh, let's do coffee. Let's do coffee.com. I know Reggie's doing some amazing things. We have worked together. There's a coffee break with Jay and t-shirt collab we're working on. I haven't talked to Reggie in a while. We got to kind of see where we are with that, but it's a fantastic brand. The logo is so cute. I mean, come on, who doesn't love coffee? So go check them out. Just do coffee.com. Why don't you? All right, you guys. I'm gonna start wrapping this up. All right, hold on. You guys are talking about guys. I got to get out of here. You guys are talking about how much is a cup of coffee? Brazilian 1 cup equals 4 American. Oh, that's like what is it? I'm thinking of some of the richer like Greek coffee that comes in a little Dimitase cup, and there's like the dirt at the bottom. Puerto Rican coffee, Cafe Bustelo, which I don't know. It used to be strong. I don't know if it's still the same stuff. Dominican coffee hit different. Also, Jared D says it still drives me nuts that in coffee home brewers 5 ounces is a cup. In what universe? I feel you on that. Yeah, Suze, thank you so much. This has been a real low key episode, and it's gone long. Pause. But it was good to get back in the saddle with you guys. If you remember, guys, coffee break used to be every week, but I need a sanity break. So every other week is coffee break. Um, Weekly Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST is pencil to pencil. Every other Thursday is coffee break at 9 p.m. EST. On the alternate Thursdays, you will get, if you're a Patreon patron of mine, it ain't hard to tell. Tell them Indubitables. My Ask Me Anything podcast with Mike Hawthorne. Latin, yo, we're going home, brother. What happened? I love it. So, guys, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, consider, like, I don't know what else am I supposed to do at this point, you guys. Consider joining the Patreon for the for the price of a box of Scrapple coffee. You could be a patron in good standing. All right, you guys, let's do the thing. Love you guys the most. This was fun. Sorry about the dog. This was great. If you missed everything, go back and watch the replay. Tell him, Kenny. All right, tell him what to do, Suze. Let's say goodnight, John boy. Yeah, that's right. You know what it is. All right, you guys, good. Let's do it. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. Guys, besides being a handsome devil, I'm also a Philadelphian. And as we know, a certified John enthusiast, a lot of my nicknames incorporate John, like John Cena, Johnny Carson. That's wild stuff. Uh, uh, John Voight. Oh, my dog's scratching at the door. It's almost over. And also, you know who it is, the captain of this ship, John Luc Picard. Engage. Make it so. There are four Johns. Yes. Tell him, Sue. There's no decaf up in this big, this Major Falcon. Only scrapple coffee. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with your boy JN. That's me. And you watch me drink. I'm also a cartoonist. Guys, I would be remiss if I did not plug, pause, my next book. You guys know about Leon. Do you know about Leon Worst Friends Forever? That's right. Coming out October 1st. You need to post haste. Once you get off of this stream, you need to go wherever books are sold and pre order this book. That's right. Bezos, Walmart's, Target, Barnes and Noble, your local bookstore, indiebookstore.org. It don't matter, just cop it. I'm very proud of this book. We're slowly changing the world, you guys, and I can't do it without your help. That's right. Yeah, Francis. See, it's like a real book. And I think people are so used to cartoonists like hawking stuff. Like, well, where's the Kickstarter? No, you go to the bookstore and just cop this. It's real, y'all. Go get it. That's right. Sue says, "Oh, please tell me everyone has already pre-ordered your Worst Friends Forever." I don't think so, Suze. I think you need to correct your actions, fix your face, post haste. Thank you, guys. All right, let's wrap this up. No, no, that's not it. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with me and the caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines, friends, and regulars, not decaf of Coffee Break Within. And he wants me run my mouth and drink coffee. Now that I'm out of coffee, somebody wake up Hicks. See you in 2 weeks. Be good.